All right, so here's 3 parts that are going to be necessary for your power steering update. This one's your return. This is the high pressure hose, and then this is the adapter that gets your high pressure hose from 68 to be able to hook up into your whatever swap you're doing. So what it's going to do is it's going to give you 5/8 by 18. And it's going to go to 16 by 1.5. And so what happens is, took the tire off here so you can see a little easier. Here's the gearbox, and here's your return. Now, if you get these lines, that doesn't mean you can just throw them in there and just be done with it. For instance, this return line here had, the bends are pretty close to where you need to be, but I ended up taking and talking real nice to these hoses so that they'd kind of get in place where I wanted them to go, which means you're gonna have to bend them a little bit, so we still have a little bit of playing to do with it, but this seems like what's going to work best is kind of routing it up and over in this way and then tucking it over the gearbox and then underneath the pressure hose, which is right here. And then as you can see, there's a port where it needs to go, so pretty close. Again, that's the return going underneath both of them and then right up into the pump. What you're seeing right there behind this hose is the cutoff portion from where we got this thing. So anyway, that's the return. Now, what gets a little bit trickier is the pressure hose. So here's the pressure hose coming off of the gearbox, and it kind of does its magic around here. It comes this way. I'm thinking I'd like to bring that part of the hose up this way, so it's away from the fans. It's not really hitting anything, but we'll see how it works. I'd like to see it come, point straight up, just to get rid of the S. But anyway, once you do that, we didn't do any bends. This is just the natural bending of that part, how you're going to get it out of the bag. And here's the adapter. Let's see if I can get in there. It's kind of hard to fit the camera in here, but this is the hose. Okay, again, no modifications up until this point. This is the adapter, part number 1446 from Napa. And then this guy right here, if you can see, it kind of goes down this way, and then it attaches to the back of the pump. Now, I really don't know where that little extension pipe comes from, or where, what models that's going to come off of, if it's going to be on your swap or not. But if you have that adapter, what happens is, we ended up bending that adapter quite a bit. Technically, what happens is it comes straight out of the back of the pump, and it does a U-turn, and it starts, and it's basically over here. It ends up right here by this return. So we put it in a vise and ended up just bending it so that it would be facing towards the tire, and that basically took up all the slack for this hose here. You will not be able to hook up this high pressure hose to the adapter straight to the back of the pump without hitting your engine mount somewhere in that area there, because there's not a whole lot of room. The distance between this adapter here and the back of this bend, there's just no room right up in there. So if you just take a little time and just a little bit of bending and just get these parts, you should be able to get this thing buttoned up pretty nicely. I think total cost on the hoses was somewhere in the neighborhood of $40 plus the adapter, maybe another 20 bucks from Napa. And then your power steering gearbox was somewhere in the neighborhood of 200 bucks. That's including like a core charge. But you got to remember, this truck came with an old gearbox. Let's see if it's in here. Came with this guy, okay? So this is a manual steering. So we're gonna be nice and happy with this power steering, and I'm pretty sure you guys would too. So for 300 bucks or so, you're looking pretty nice. And again, that's including the rag joint too. This is like an $8 rag joint, and again, you'd have to grind the old one apart and to be able to fit the parts together.
3¼ turns.
And then it's 3.3 turns from lock to lock. So I did read somewhere online that this setup is going to be a little bit overpowered as far as a power steering pump to the gearbox ratio. It's just going to be really smooth, overpowered. But I don't know that there's any adjustments that we can make. I'm just happy to get this thing, buttoned together where the fluid's not going to make a mess and really have power steering. So if it's overpowered, we got to figure out, if it's too much, then if anybody knows what to do to bring the power down a little bit. Otherwise, it's just going to have to be. So, good luck.